Manual of Podcast. I am John Baldisberger.
I am Charles R. Bernard.
And apparently I'm lemon squeezy. No, I'm Ian. Lemon
Close
Clement.
enough. Close enough.
Lemon's queasy is very good though. I like that.
I used to count on making well, not lemon squeezy, but I counted on making lemon squeezy.
You
At
did.
least
You
once
did
per
make
show back
lemons
in the day.
queasy
Yeah.
quite often. Um, man, everyone, uh, shit's getting wild here.
We metastasized.
We, it brings me great pleasure to introduce John's new friend to the show, which is always an exciting moment when John has a new friend. Um,
Someday we're gonna break double digits. So we're gonna get there.
Yep.
with my
we
friends
will.
or hosts, because I don't know if I can produce that many people at once. Yeah,
I can picture it. It would be a clusterfuck.
but welcome Ian Servas to
Yes.
the show. Ian, we met just a few months ago through Talk Morkborg on Facebook, where you were advertising Murder Hobocon.
Such a great name for a con.
Your little show that we attended last weekend. And we got along very well. We enjoyed it. Became fast friends, and long story short, you're here joining us in our podcast, a podcast web stream Twitch thing, whatever the fuck we are. Look,
Content. Video content.
if you are checking this out on my Facebook, if you are watching this on YouTube after the fact, or if you're listening to the audio portion of the podcast, I really want to encourage you to come check out the live Twitch stream Wednesdays at 8:30 Central Standard Time. Not just because like analytics make me hard, but because you can chat with us, you can talk to us, and in some ways that we'll get into in a minute, that's going to be like kind of baller to do. The other new thing you'll notice is we have a new catchphrase at the top. We have always been the Monster Manual of Podcasts. We are now
And shall
also
remain so. Yep.
America's test table.
I'm proud of you for that one, by the way.
Thank you.
I really like that.
I
Yeah.
hugged myself. I won't lie. Like I
Yeah.
turned to my wife and I was like, "Hey, I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty awesome, actually." I thought about
Yeah.
it, and John's good.
We do need to get aprons at some point.
I
We need to
have
like
so many
GM
aprons.
screens that have like an apron print on the front.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Love
Like
it.
the
Oh,
WM on one side and the apron on the other.
yeah.
I love it.
Chef's kiss. Actually, see, that could be our rating system. If something is like great, it'd be like the chef's
Oh,
kiss.
how many chef
like,
kisses? How many chef
right?
kisses
Yeah.
that game? Okay.
I
Okay.
can also
So
see like a kiss the GM apron like in our future.
Yes.
consensually rub the GM.
So
So
more fun than a
Oven
kiss,
mitts.
what is America's Test Table? You may or may not be familiar with America's Test Kitchen. It was a concept, a show. There was a book, several books.
I subscribed to the magazine for a long time.
But a test kitchen is where you take ingredients, you take recipes, and you test them out. You see how they work. You see what you like about them, what you don't like about them, and you make delicious or gross food, and then you know what's up. One of the things I've really wanted to do for a very long time is kind of take that concept to gaming. We have so many new games coming out all the time. Games, settings, new systems. That it's just like a shotgun blast nearly daily. And
It's a second like birth of the printing press. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I thought it would be great if we could A, play games, like for real y'alls. B, talk about monsters a bunch. And C, check those out and kind of give you the skinny on how they feel mechanically, make you aware of games that you may not know about. Obviously, right now, past Charles, that fucking hammers that way. There we go. We have the numinous brutality cover, which is the game we just announced. You can find that on our website at madnessheart.press, where you can sign up for a newsletter, and we'll kind of update you on the skinny and development. For instance, I'm going to send out a newsletter later this month about how we finish the quick character creation rules.
That's awesome.
So playing rules are like around the bend. But the other thing, so we'll play those games live stream. We'll do real play, actual play. Not Freudian slip. We'll play games here on the stream. You can see us struggle with the rules and have fun, kind of in our own bombastic style. If you know anything about me, we'll play games that are coming out, games that have just released. We'll play lots of one shots. We'll play a couple mini campaigns, depending if the system is kind of unwieldy for a one shot. And the other thing I'm really excited about is you might notice that there's that WM logo underneath Charles. Looks about the same size as our screens. That's so that we can invite designers on during their crowdfunding to come and run games and talk about their system and their development, so you can get excited about it and learn about games before they're even out.
Right. So we're going to be one part actual play, but not critical role, because we're fumble-fingered fuck-ups. One part, yeah. One part, cool monsters and trying stuff out, and one part, bona fide soapbox for the game creator to come and talk about how awesome their game is, and we'll hit them with excruciating hardball questions, I'm sure.
Look, it will be hard to be a softer ball than Joe Rogan and Alex Jones.
I've been applying much ointment for exactly that purpose. It's just
I feel.
Wait, what is our stance on frogs and their like sexual relations? Where are we on that?
So, interesting thing about frogs, if you have a bunch of frogs and they're all the same gender, they'll switch genders in order to continue breeding. It's not the water that makes them gay, it's God.
I love it.
I'm just saying.
It is a pretty awesome maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm excited.
But part of the reason you should watch us live on chat is you can chat with me, and I'm the only one that'll see it. So you can give me terrible character suggestions. You can give me advice. You can ask questions about systems or ask us to clarify a rule. Anything you want. We do want this to be a very interactive experience and a lot of fun. And I also wanted to tell you guys what I've been listening to lately.
What's that?
I've been listening to the new Zealand Ardor album.
Oh God! Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, those cats. That cat. It's that guy. Plus his backing band, I guess. Yeah. Amazing shit. Like it's kind of a combination of like blues, black metal. Like it's really something else. Isn't he from like? He's not from America.
No, he's from Sweden, I believe.
Yeah, and he sounds like a Delta blues man.
Well, his mother was, I believe, African American, but maybe just black. And part of the reason Zealand Ardor exists is because he wanted to marry, like, he's like, hey, Christianity destroyed both of my people's traditions, religions, and I want to marry marry like this Norwegian or Swedish black metal with Mississippi Delta blues, and slave songs. And it's really just a beautiful combination. Anyway, I wanted to mention
just real quick while you're talking about Zealand Ardor, speaking on behalf of the satanic community, which I do very rarely, but I feel like a spokesperson here. Zealand Ardor, fucking awesome. Yeah, hail Satan. Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
Anyway, and they gave Max Booth permission to use one of their lyrics in his books. So nice guys too.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a bunch of stuff to talk about that is currently on Kickstarter that I thought I would mention and bring up. and then we can kind of dive into what we're going to be doing next, which Ian knows. I don't know shit. So on the screen now is the cover of a book called Dive. Ian, have you seen Dive on Kickstarter?
I'm not, you know, there. I've seen like 3 or 4 different aquatic things. So
Yeah, there's a
I don't
bunch
know.
right now.
Let
So
me.
Dive is a mothership expansion, or not expansion, third party license thing. And I don't have Mothership yet. I played Mothership for the first time on Sunday.
At Murder Hobocon, yeah.
Yeah, Ian ran that game for me.
No, that was gonna say that was a very atypical
Yeah, that
introduction
was
of
not
Mothership.
not
Yeah,
standard Mothership. But Dive is so you can play any aquatic themed sci-fi thing using the Mothership system, and they specifically call out like Deep Blue Sea, tin fins, from Aqualab, or sorry, Sea Lab 2020, and Sea Lab.
there's
Oh,
14
Don't even
days
get me
still left to
started,
kick,
man.
Prangle.
Oh,
There's
no,
all
shit,
my
we'll be
nipples
sued.
again. Yeah.
Wait, what was that, Ian?
I was going to say there's 14 days left to kick, since I know some things we'll talk about are
Yeah.
still live in crowdfunding. So if you are hearing this not too far in the future, then there's still a chance to kick this.
Yeah, die and do die. I mean, look, if you want to play Mothership and you like aquatic horror, Dive looks really legit and really cool. I'm excited about it. The next project I have on the docket is also still live on Kickstarter. It is Forbidden Psalm: The Last War. Now, Forbidden Psalm is a third-party thing that was made for Morkborg for miniature wargaming. It is miniature wargaming in Morkborg, and I believe this is the 4th or 5th book, third-party license game for that system. It's really cool. I'm actually a playtester for this one, so
Oh, really?
What I'll say is what I really like about the Forbidden Psalm system is the way it's set up is for 2 players to kind of play against each other against a GM-less antagonist in each setting. So the book acts as your GM. And I think that's really nice because it adds one of my favorite things about Morkborg is how everything looks. And one of my least favorite things about wargaming is how frequently the lore is kind of cast aside. And Forbidden Psalm is very story heavy and very like it's very silly at times, but also very very Morkborg. You might notice the cover, and I sent these covers to you earlier today, guys, so you can kind of know what I'm talking about. It looks very World War One, with lots of mustard gas. One interesting thing is there's another game that just came out that I kickstarted by my friend Christian. I call him my friend. We're acquaintances, and that is Boneheart Crusaders, and that's a gas mask, like straight up. And this is a game just came out, but it's available on Drive-Thru RPG, so you can still get it. One of my villains from a novel is in this book.
No shit.
Yeah. The Necromancer Baskin is in this book.
I love me a necromancer.
Yeah.
And
Well, this book is for
that's
you.
from Book of Zev, right? Like
Yep.
the first one, which
he is the main
magic?
antagonist of the first book.
Yeah.
So Boneheart Crusaders is about a army regiment who goes into the Valley of the Unfortunate Undead to kill it. And there's really cool, interesting rules and mechanics for waging war against this place. I think he did an amazing job, and just because Forbidden Psalm Last War had such a like World War One look to it, I wanted to include Boneheart Crusaders here. Now, Ian, this next one is one that is near and dear to your heart.
7 aboard.
7 aboard, baby. 7 aboard. Charles is going to piss himself in a second.
Okay.
Charles,
Pampers are
Wait, do we
prepared.
need to get the bucket?
how do you feel about pirates?
Pretty damn good.
How do you feel about grim dark?
Oh, you know how my deep love of
How do you
the
feel
grimdark.
about dungeon crawling through a prison barge run by grim dark pirates?
You
That
forgot.
I
is
feel really
randomly
fucking good.
generated
That's
as
what I
you
was going to say.
go.
Procedural generation.
Because what you just described is like when I talk about historical pirates, I often use that metaphor that it was in many cases like a floating prison more than a like like people think of yo ho ho pirates, like it was not good. So I love that grimdark pirates is true to life.
There's a little bit of that like black ship element from 40K in it, as it's
Yeah.
basically a prison
Yes.
barge to hold super terrible things.
Yes.
They're super lethal. So looking through and doing some of the volunteer editing on that book, or at least giving some feedback, it is definitely a meat grinder. Very much here's a really neat encounter. It's probably going to kill you, but you're going to have some really great stories to take out from that.
Yeah, on top of
Yeah.
that, like I said, we were all kind of talking excitedly. It's procedurally generated by a deck of cards.
That's amazing, man.
And like if you back at a high enough tier, you get like a map of the ship, and you can lay the cards out to build the map of the deck, and it's very cool, very cool. But it even gets cooler. The band Bog Wizard, which is this doom sludge stoner metal band that focuses on nerd fantasy shit, is making it started as an EP, but I think it's going to be a full LP at this point because we
really?
backed at such a high level. I want to say it's like 6 or 7 songs now. Are writing an album for this adventure.
It's fucking amazing.
That's
Like
Yeah.
we interacted a little bit with Bog Wizard on Twitter the other day because we were talking about them in our Murder Hobocon preview, I believe, and like they seem super nice. And,
They're chill as fuck. Yeah. Really cool dudes.
Maybe we should get them on as a guest player sometime.
I would
If we run
love.
something.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking
honestly, that would be really incredible.
Yeah, it would.
I'm going to talk
Goals.
to them and see if I can get the rights to use Barbaria as our intro and outro music.
Let them know it'll just be a teeny slice of it. People
Just
will want
a
more.
tiny slice, and
They'll
give
want
you
that
credit.
taste in their mouth, and they'll go check the band out. It'll benefit everybody.
It will. I hope.
The taste of
You know,
our mouth.
it always depends on labels and rights, and if they say like we'd love to, but we need $500, I'll be like, I understand, but I can't.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can get on board, and you, as Ian mentioned, this project currently has 5 more days as of this recording to back, and I highly recommend it. It looks so incredible.
I think they've hit all the stretch goals so far, right? I mean,
Yep.
it's actually wait, no, it says 3 days left. So
3 days. Oh, boop. Are you sure?
Yeah, I've just pulled it up.
Okay.
It says 3 days to go. So that means make
like
your
going back. Like if you're interested in this, go and back it now.
Yeah,
is what that
absolutely.
means.
I'm gonna get my ass in gear for sure. And if we can get this posted tomorrow, then people will still have,
I'll send you the link tonight.
Cool.
We'll get
Excellent.
It posted.
Yeah. We'll get that up to tweets so that y'all out there in like Meat Space can
know about it for
check
sure.
out go check it
All
out
right.
and back it.
Are y'all ready for something that isn't Morkborg?
Yeah, I guess.
I know. Like,
I'm just kidding.
This is Flow, though. And I'm actually going to bring up their Kickstarter, which is why I'm suddenly washed out. Like, I have a giant monitor over here that's just pure white at the moment. Give me a second. I'm going to pull this up. This is a primarily French designer, if you can't know by the name Flow. Kickstarter, why you gotta do me like that? Why? Okay,
Well,
Flow. There we go. Because he has a great pitch. Okay, the elevator pitch would be the 30 Years' War with animated skeleton armies.
Wow.
Shit, that's the second time today that the 30 Years War has been mentioned in an interesting context. Like, yeah, I'm into that. That's fucking dope. By the way, like I only recently became acquainted with like that general time period of British history,
Yeah.
thanks to Neil Stephenson's Baroque cycle,
Okay.
and like that shit was insane. And I that sounds very compelling. Yeah.
I
So,
like the fact this looking at character generation, erudition
oh
is
yeah,
a skill or one of your core attributes. I like that.
yeah. No, it looks really really cool, really really simple. With interesting mechanics, which is always a cool thing. Um, the introductory adventure is Bloodbath at Castle Kragstein. Um, there are 2 weeks to back this, by the way. Um, and like guys, if you couldn't tell, well, let me copy this. Can I just? No, I can't. Okay. Um, look at that cover. Like, look at the little smidge of cover art I have up there. It's
Yeah,
fucking gorgeous, though.
that's amazing.
And the cover, written by Kobayashi, uh, art director is Ed Gara, and the tagline is "Tonight we bleed, but tomorrow we'll be rich." Which, that's fun.
Story of my life, only
Oh,
without the
I'm gonna
rich
have to kick
part.
this too, and I'm like, I've already lost about a half a mortgage payment this month
I
alone.
know.
So
Zinequest is kicking my ass. Oh, I have another one. I have another one, and this is not a game.
what's
I
that?
hope you'll forgive me.
Oh, this is the horror comics thing, right?
This is the horror comics thing.
Ah,
Here-
now we're on my turf. Like this is my
so
shit.
so the image you have up right now is Bog Knight,
Yeah,
which is a comic book where someone essentially said like, "What if Swamp Thing, but medieval?"
so awesome.
Um, and I was over. So the guy who was doing this, Zach Chapman, lives a couple of blocks away from me.
No shit.
I watched Max Booth's movie. Like when we went and saw his movie on release day, we all went over to Zach Chapman's house and watched it. And after everyone else left, Zach and I just like hung out till 3 a.m. chatting about comics. The dude's he's like he is to comics as the RZA is to Kung Fu.
All right.
He's like a bona fide fucking historian. He
Wow.
knows
Yeah.
so much about like the politics of comics, the history, how the storylines worked. The other day I asked him to explain the Eternals to me,
Good luck.
and it was legit like a 3 hour conversation
Yep.
going all the way back to like, okay, well, here's what I was having with DC and Marvel at the time and how it evolved from this. But then he got hired by this, so he made this instead, and that's what he
Oh,
really wanted to
Kirby's
make.
New Gods got a shout out in that conversation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Of course.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so he understands comics, and all of his friends are like me and Max Booth and Andrew Hilbert and horror authors. And so he basically said, like, hey, let me get with great authors. I will help translate their stories into comic book format, and then I'll work with amazing artists to create this awesome anthology of horror comics. This is the first anthology. And I have talked to him, and I believe he's going to try to get this image as a poster made for like an add-on for backers. I was really excited. That's on Kickstarter. That launched today or yesterday. Yesterday, it launched yesterday. It's brand new. That is House of Blood, and it's in the comics. Back it because it's going to be incredible. Okay, I have a confession. I have a confession, guys.
How unlike you, John.
I know.
How long has it been since your last confession, John?
I'm Jewish, so like a couple of minutes.
Man, I've heard that exact. Don't even get. I was a devout Catholic for much of my youth, so yeah. Anyway,
Okay. Hold on. Let me. No, I can't. Charles, we need to talk real quick.
Uh-oh.
Should I plug my ears?
No. Charles, how about them baptisms though? Were you baptized with a proper pronoun, Charles?
Oh,
Charles, I need to know. Were you baptized with a proper pronoun?
I think so, probably, yeah.
oh,
But I also was unbaptized.
I watched a TikTok about it, and the guy said, "Oh, not only has this happened to like hundreds of thousands of people, what they realized is certain priests realized that they were baptized with the wrong pronoun, meaning they weren't baptized, which means they weren't Catholic, which means none of their baptisms count."
wow.
Yeah.
And because the Catholic
It's
mindset
like
is
the
no one else
replication
gets,
crisis. Yeah, yeah.
because in the Catholic mindset, no one but Catholics get into heaven. It means that millions of people all over the world are suddenly condemned to hell because of an accounting error, essentially.
So basically, what you're
Probably
saying is that
limbo.
we're now living
Probably
in the
limbo.
movie Brazil.
Yeah. Which also is America's future in, I'd say, about 2-3 years. I don't know. We'll see.
I was called to be a speaker at a conversion class last night, which are
Yeah,
a bunch of
I
baby
retweeted your
Jews.
fucking hilarious tweet about that, which I
It
quite
was so
enjoyed.
true. It was
And
a bunch of
just
baby Jews.
let me say, I am forever stealing the term Mazel Tov cocktail.
Okay,
It's like,
so I
what do you
stole
call a
that.
Molotov cocktail you throw at a Nazi? It's Mazel Tov
Yeah.
cocktail.
I stole that
From who?
from Fox News, who said it unintentionally. The writers are throwing Mazel Tov cocktails. The Jewish ones probably are. L'chaim.
Soup for my family.
Yeah.
It's flaming booze, also for my family. So there were three of us, a young queer woman, and I mentioned she's queer because part of her story was like, I never found acceptance until I joined this community, and specifically reform for her. I'm technically renewal, but she was saying that she found acceptance and love and kindness, and it was really moving for her. And then there was a kindly grandpa who was like, "Well, I was raised Southern Baptist, but I after I got a divorce, I met a Jewish woman, and she was like, hey, come with me to synagogue, and so I did, and that was from like 1990 to 2018, and she passed away." And I was like, well, I can't just go to synagogue on my own. I guess I'd need to convert to keep going. Because like he's like, yeah, I've been Jewish for 30 years. I just like without my wife, I guess I need to also be Jewish.
That's both tragic and beautiful.
It was really beautiful.
Yeah.
And then, John, do you have anything to say? Here's what I think of anti-Semitism all over the world. Yeah, I was angry and throwing Mazel Tov cocktails all over the place, and then I mentioned that I wrote Jewish horror, and people were like, oh, I'm gonna check out your books. Like, are you sure? Because I write some shit. Like I'm honored, I'm flattered, but I do write some shit. Anyway, so that happened yesterday, and I was very tickled pink about it.
Yeah. I was tickled reading about it.
So I have a confession. This show is all about new stuff. Not necessarily new, because we'll play some old shit. Specifically, hopefully, old things that you either haven't heard of or haven't gotten a chance to try.
Mhm.
We're not going to do a whole lot of mainstream gaming, unless it's something that one of us just never got a chance to try and we really want to. Like, this is also a show for us. Let's be honest.
I'll make you play some Warhammer.
So what I've been reading lately is Warhammer
even,
40k Wrath and Glory, the Forsaken System Player's
Forsaken
Guide.
System. Yeah, you were talking to me about that.
Yeah, so I've been reading that lately, in between reading Morkborg stuff, and 40k is a really interesting tabletop system, because the older stuff from help me out, Ian, who originally wrote that shit,
the Fantasy Flight books.
Fantasy Flight, thank you. Because the Fantasy Flight books are handed off, lost their fucking license, lost their license for being too goddamn complicated.
Yeah. God, Combat in Dark Heresy is just as grim as just
It's a tabletop game. It's straight up the tabletop game. And they've evolved the rules of the tabletop war game to be more simple and more user friendly, but the tabletop RPG game was still like the 1970s rule set. The Wrath and Glory has some complexities I'm not super happy with. I always feel that if I read through your core rule book and I'm still like I'm not sure how to play, that's a huge problem. In my
if you read the
opinion.
whole fucking thing and you don't know
And
how,
you know I
like,
do.
Yeah, that's not good.
Maybe. But frankly, I mostly read these things for lore anyway. I've also been playing Skyrim because new things scare me. No. What was I doing?
But there's a new graphics filter. It's a brand new game.
No, I'm playing on the Nintendo Switch. It looks like horseshit. but I can play in the bathtub and in bed, and that's new and exciting.
Fair enough.
Something happened. You know what? My daughter's been watching How to Train Your Dragon nonstop for the past like 7. She's 8 now, 7 years, and I was just like, man, Vikings and dragons. You know what? I could also Vikings and dragons. So my confession is that I've been wallowing in older stuff and not fully submerged up to my nipples in new crap.
That's really not a sin, my son. So consider yourself. What do
I'm
they
sorry,
call
Daddy.
that?
I've been naughty.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, they sold them for a while. They were
Absolutions.
Yes, thank you. It's what caused Protestantism was. Yeah,
At some point, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind checking out Wrath and Glory. I think I have some of the books, but I'm staring at my old Dark Heresy books, just looming over at me from the wall. Some of the best moments I've had in gaming were from trying to decipher Dark Heresy.
I ran
Is
a
Dark
Death
Heresy
Watch game.
30K, by the way?
No, it's 40K.
It's 40.
Oh, okay.
It's
okay.
I ran a Death Watch game for 2 years.
I don't know how you did that, because when I read the book, I thought it looked way overpowered.
I love Space Marines,
but at the same time, like, that's the only way you could deal anything with like a demon host, because in the book they just had there was so much that it bogged down combat with humans. It was either run away or die, because
I made
well.
my own aliens that were basically Cenobites. They're chaos corrupted aliens that were Cenobite. They were Cenobites.
So you talk to, I was gonna say, like dark elves?
No, dark elves, but less like fruity about it, I guess. I don't know.
So when I ran,
I have something to contribute here, actually. So you and I, John, and I'm sure you, Ian, if you've read any of the 40K lore books, share a love of Mr. Dan Abnett.
Yep.
Well, I'd read the Eisenhorn trilogy, which is like fucking excellent.
I'm so sorry.
40K novels.
I fucked your whole life and wallet up by introducing that to you.
It really did.
That's the start.
That's all that's the gateway one. Yeah.
Baby.
But have you read Majos? Like,
yeah,
it's a whole I didn't know that existed, and now I'm like halfway through and loving every fucking minute of it, because like I love these ancillary characters being fleshed out so much. And one thing I noticed when I was reading through Majos is like I'm like, shit, dude, this is like the most tabletop-y short story collection that I've read, because like they rely on specific mechanics and skills and characters that you don't see in the like lore quite so much. And you know, the fact that Majos Biologica is like one of the main characters is interesting.
Yeah, there's 10 Eisenhorn books altogether.
Right.
The 3 Eisenhorn, the 3 Ravenor, and the 3 Beckwin plus Magos, which is
there's a lot of Ravenor shit in this one that was I don't know, by turns like extremely awesome, and like the grimmest and darkest of the grim dark.
Yeah, I stopped. I fell off the Ravenor trilogy back. There's a scene where someone he's been communing with, because he's a very powerful psyker, is getting into a relationship, and he's like, I've never had any like intimacy with her, but like I mentally ride with her on missions, and that's like the closest thing I'll ever know to intimacy, since I'm a cripple in a fucking casket.
More than that, man, he's
when
barely
before I was super handsome and
Yep.
super like good
and
with the
super
ladies.
psychic and brilliant. Like
Yeah. And so
even
like
with all
it's
brain powers, he eventually winds up most known for his like mystical books, which I love. Exploring like, you know, he's like Magnus, you know. Yeah, I love that nerdy shit. That nerdy,
Magnus
you
did
know,
nothing
magic
wrong.
shit.
I disagree with that statement.
That's a joke. Magnus was the final nail.
John Brown did nothing wrong. Magnus did plenty wrong.
He was a little cocky, but not as much wrong as I originally thought.
Not as much as Fulgrim was.
I mean,
Yeah, that fucking guy.
So so next week we're not going to be sitting here with one finger in our butt and our dicks in our hands. We will have dice in our hands.
You speak for yourself.
You
can
will have dice
multitask.
in your hands as well.
Well, what do you think I'm going to have up my ass until they, you know,
Probably
you'll be like roll 1d20 and I'm like, that's the one clock, you know. By feel,
you know,
like
they have those.
If you swallow the dice, then you are technically a dice tower. The lag between turns will take a while, but it'll be random.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's great. I love that.
Go
New product
away.
idea. Like the little guy is a dice tower. That's great.
Nope, I'm done. I'm out. Oh, okay. Next week we're going to play some Morkborg. Specifically, we're playing an adventure from the Dissident Whispers.
Yes.
Book that is on itch.io. It is not sold out. And I believe the fundraiser might still be going.
I think the fundraiser is still going. I don't know if it's still available in print. That's
anyway.
That was a really neat for the Bail Bond project. So that was it's a collection of lots of different modules for different systems, Mothership to BX to just about anything under the sun. So Johan Nor had made a supplement for it, and so that's what we're going to be getting ourselves into.
Nice. Speaking of that, my friend Brian Asman wrote a book. I believe it's currently nominated for a Splatterpunk. I could be wrong. Called "Man, Fuck This House," about a haunted house. He is currently trying to raise money for the Kidney Association of America. Something near and dear to our three-kidneyed friend Charles's heart.
Yeah, man, I will straight up support that cause.
And anyone who buys his book, "Man, Fuck This House," the sales will go directly toward the organization, and he is matching those donations and that money raised up to $10,000.
That's incredible.
So, "Man, Fuck This House" by Brian Asman. Charles is going to tweet that out after the show to let everyone know. It's a great book. A, it's a great book. 2, you're supporting indie horror, and 3, you're supporting a great cause. So do that. Yeah, that's what we had to talk about. Actually, let's talk about numinous brutality a little bit.
Yeah,
and then I'll shut up and let other people talk. I promise. Holy fuck! I'm drinking a dark and stormy, so I'm a little chatty Cathy tonight.
Hey, if we ever want to go on a tiki site, Bent, we can go down that rabbit hole.
Charles, can you drink a ginger beer?
Oh yeah, you betcha.
Okay, cool. I don't want to leave our dear friend out of the festivities.
Do you have a gluten sensitivity?
He has a third kidney and cannot drink alcohol.
Yeah, I have a third kidney because the other two don't work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a no booze dude, but I've been delighted at some non-alcoholic cocktails, and I'm sure there's an equivalent for a dark and stormy. If we do a tiki thing, or I could come up with another drink. I could just eat a fucking mango on camera. I don't know.
So, numinous brutality. We're going through. We're building it out right now. It's going to be great. Luke Spooner is on board to do the art. Obviously, we also have art from, and I'm pulling up his name now because I slaughter it every time. The sun. Ugh, it's so bright though. Kim Diaz Home, Kim Diaz Home, is letting us use his art. It's going to be incredible. The key mechanics of this game are random tables, prophecy,
and my favorite,
war, and cannibalism.
There it is.
So it's like, hand to God, we were in the chat, we were in the design chat last night and talking, and I essentially said, like, someone came up with this really cool occult mysticism way of organizing powers, and I jabbed the finger in his face electronically and said, "More metal, motherfucker." Actually, Ian, you said that, if I'm not mistaken.
Did I?
Or Joel. Joel, so it was either you or Joel.
Probably.
Someone's basically said, like, how can we make this more brutal? So we are
Skulls and spikes.
Yeah, we're not going the 40K route where we just put a bunch of spikes on everything, but we are going the brutal legend route and having giant swords everywhere.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be a cool game. I'm working extensively with Joel right now to kind of build up the war mechanics. We're trying to build it so that it can be as heavy and intricate as you want, but also, like, if you just want to do theater of the mind and do a couple of random rolls to get to the next thing, you can do that too. We want it to be, honestly, I kind of want it to just be like Dynasty Warriors, only brutal and metal. Is that wrong? If that's wrong, I don't want to be right.
That's right.
Ian, how did you feel about Murder Hobocon?
You know, I still need to do a metrics. I'm developing right now a post-evaluation survey to get some feedback. I think, you know, I had a blast. I ran over 16 hours of content over 2 days, and that was grueling. The last session of the day dragged a bit for me in my brain because at that point I was like smelling like burnt brain cells. But that was definitely a marathon, and it was a pure joy. So I appreciate you.
Was that Hideo's World?
I was bogging a bit because 6 players is always like
it was a
maximum.
Lot.
So having 6 people and not firing on full cylinders is a real challenge. Make sure everyone gets a sufficient amount of action and agency. So 4, you know, is a much better balance. But I wanted to make sure that there were plenty of seats at the table for everyone. All in all, I was quite pleased. I think definitely was a challenge having the weekend where it was the Olympics, the Super Bowl, brooding war between Ukraine and Russia, you know, all the other things that really may pull people from sitting down and, you know, swallowing dice at the table.
Ian, you say that. You say that. I've checked the demographics on the Venn diagram of people that are going to attend a Morkborg third-party OSR con and who watch the Super Bowl. Not a whole lot of overlap, my friend.
Well, that's true. That and Valentine's Day weekend, that hurt us more. I was banking on the lonely
also
nerd
the number of people that have significant others and are also super into Morkborg. I'm joking.
You should just have Morkborg con. I'd do that. Just like Grimdark, Morkborg adjacent. That'd be real fun.
It would be.
Well, we'll eventually have them. Like, I say this, we won't. I was going to say we're going to have a Manishart press con, I'm sure, at some point. But honestly, what we'll probably have is a corner at Ghoulish Book Fest.
Hey, why not? Hey, you can always do an online con. I mean, Murder Hobocon, our first one was last August, so onwards and upwards.
I would say that people get real mad at me sometimes because there were people that were legitimately angry at me because KillerCon was online in 2020 and 2021.
They're bad and they should feel bad.
I'll let him know that you said that. He doesn't know who you are, so it doesn't mean anything to him. But so Yeah, I definitely have thoughts about Murder Hobocon. I think that there was a lot of amazing stuff happening, but I think there are ways that we can or that it can be elevated to another level. It always can be, right?
Absolutely. Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
and so I played. I woke up at 6 in the morning on Saturday, made my like Tomato Gohan rice, and popped myself in front of the computer to play Morkborg first thing in the goddamn morning. And
Best time to do it.
the first thing I did is throw a grenade down a methane filled hall.
And it worked. It worked. You killed a giant super gorilla, basically.
I'm fucking MPV.
Yeah, you not only did you basically burn out that giant golem gorilla, but the other two lesser golem gorillas that were in the hall. So
um it was a really cool game. And it was really cool to meet those other people as well. Really good people in that game. And I got to play with them again uh when we played Vast Grim. Oh man, Blades in the Dark, Dubby Cho Dubby Chonut, which that's a great name.
It
Uh
is.
Lets me know that Blades in the Dark is doing an online con that seems to be shaping up well. I haven't gotten an opportunity to play Blades in the Dark or any of its derivatives,
same
but
here.
I have 3 of their books. I have Blades in the Dark, Scum and Villainy, and
I kickstarted.
Brinkwood.
I kickstarted one that was adjacent to that, so it's Blade in the Darks, but it's a reskin with animals doing. It's basically
Cool.
a raccoon stealing trash.
The one
So
I did is the one I backed was vampires fighting capitalism. Like you are the people uh rebelling against the capitalist vampiric overlords.
Hey, I've got a Troika adaptation that's the Werewolves of Wall Street, where
Amazing.
capitalism is
I
being
love it.
manifest as werewolves, and you're stuck in a giant cubicle farm, and you have to escape. So,
Guys, I can't wait to play all these dumb.
weird one shot.
I
That's
can't wait to
great.
play all these dumb games.
Uh,
Yeah.
Also, Ian pointed out a game that I promised him we would play, Charles.
Mhm.
It's Jellyfish Felonies.
felonies.
I
Uh,
love it.
I
Yeah.
added it to our Mind Hive bio
Okay, great.
collection
Yeah.
in the indie section. It looks so stupid, and
That's
if you
great.
know me, stupid is like the
Well, there's-
choicest thing.
there's
It's a
another-
chef kiss.
There's another one that I wanted to run at that same con that I wasn't able to run, the jellyfish. And it is, hold up here, something with, it's got Blue Jays in the title. Give me a second here.
Lady Blue Jay? No, I'm thinking like Blackbeard.
Oh, no. It is arson, murder, and blue jaywalking. It's a game where you play, so it's real simple, kind of like Jellyfish Felonies, but you play, it's described as a lighthearted and free-for game of birdly vengeance. Basically, you can be a gull, a crow, or a blue jay, and you have 3 stats: poop, yell, and pretty. And you can either pick a quest or roll for it randomly, but it's basically your job is to terrorize people enjoying a nice summer day at the beach.
I
That's
feel like
fantastic.
that's
Steal
my
their french
real
fries,
life,
steal
baby.
towels,
So I assume gulls have the highest poop stat, jays have the
yes.
highest pretty stat, and crows have the highest yell stat.
Yep.
Oh
You
yeah, for
nailed it.
sure.
My
That's
wife
like yeah, that's the trifecta of
hates
birddom, basically.
seagulls. She hates seagulls.
I love it that it's like, anyways, you're a bird now, and such things have no consequences, like, how do rules and things work. But what is important are French fries. Tasty French fries.
Yes.
Also cooking on sunbathers is life. Do it. Just great flavor. Definitely one of those things where you need to have the great amount of like yes and people, and you'll have a great time.
Yeah, one of the reasons I invited Ian to join our cast here at Wandering Monster and is because I was never stopped. Like no one, no one stopped me at Murder Hobocon. I just kept doing things, and they let me. Um, I have a, I have the opinion when you're playing a role playing game, um, that you are required to be as epic as possible, as balls to the wall. Um, when I'm playing a role playing game in a computer, I'm the type of person that's like, I probably want to save this potion. There's a broom over there. I can pick that broom up. I should probably add that broom to my inventory just to be safe. In tabletop role playing, I'm like, okay, I have a healing potion. Can I just like plug that in my mouth and stop it with my tongue, hang upside down from my airplane and sword fight the dragon and just like kind of like unstop it with my tongue every few minutes to get a heal? Is that okay?
You know,
So yeah,
You make a
anytime
saving throw for falling off the fucking plane or whatever. I
I
guess
have very good calves.
Okay.
I'll say so you talked about playing old things. At some point, also add in our queue. I have a game that I purchased back in like late '90s, an RPG, where you play as action like '80s action like heroes. It's kind of meta, like the Last Action Hero, where you're
Okay.
also
I
a
love it.
person, but you're playing in a movie intentionally. So your two stats are guts and brawn. And so guts is like doing like backflip, like what you're saying, like clenching your tuchus to hold on to the helicopter, and you fall into the moving truck full of boxes to survive. That's a guts roll. And then the other brawn is of
Yeah,
course fighting, but
that's
I think that
great.
would be also a fun one shot.
That would be good. And there's also a ton of cool games on itch.io that we'll get into. Um, I have a favorite creator on itch.io. I can't think of his name at the moment, but um, he made things like Trashkin, where you're like raccoon wizards, um, and games like that. I also have games by Adam Voss,
Hmm.
who's one of my favorite game designers. He's the guy who did Fiskboard. He
Hmm.
also did a game called Necronautilus, which I talked about on the show, in which
Hmm.
you use language uh, itself as your core mechanic. So there's lots of cool shit I want to talk about and play and test out. We'll test it out for you. You can hear us. You can hear us. Uh, Charles making dumb dick jokes,
Oh,
me being
constantly. Yeah.
completely reckless, and Ian trying to hold on to his sanity as he wrangles us two idiot monkeys through scene
Hey,
after
professional
scene.
cat wrangler here.
That's the
But
luck, motherfucker.
and we'll take turns. Like
Yeah.
Ian will also have a chance to play, although he fervently denies he ever wants to.
Oh no,
Um,
I'll do it. I'm the forever DM.
See, and I always have been, and so like part of me is like, no, man, don't worry about it. I'll help. And part of me is like, I'm
That,
free.
that is literally what birthed Murder Hobo Inc. or M Hobo Inc. on Twitch. Is that they're basically all forever GMs, and the guy runs, Frank runs games for forever GMs. So
That's
you
cool.
can always be a guest on that if you ever want. Those are Saturdays, usually are the one shots, but that's neither here nor there.
I had fun. I met Frank and played with Frank. Not played, but designed with Frank during the Iron DM.
I'm
Which
assuming you're not talking about Max Booth's dog.
no, yes, I am. He's an incredible dungeon master for a
Yeah.
1 year old wiener dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I met Frank and played with Frank. He does this thing called Iron DM where you use random rolls to kind of build a scenario, and you have like 5 or 6 basic rolls, and then you have to build a scenario around that. And I don't think he likes me now
What'd you do?
because I did create Fantasy Bachelorette as one of my scenarios.
We did an Iron DM once, and it was a Christmas themed. So like Christmas objects and such. And so we had to figure out like what a quest was, and like the quest item was something about like a wreath, and it needed to be linked to like presents and other stuff. And so basically, the adventure started off with there was a druid that was wild shaped, and someone stole his branches to make a wreath. Now he can't unwild shape because if he does, he's going to bleed out to death because he has any arms. So he needs someone to go like get his limbs that are hanging above someone's fireplace and reattach them. And then it turned into a whole Krampus thing. So
that's pretty good. That's also the most we've talked about Christmas on this show ever.
Yeah.
See, but next year we need to make sure that we represent other holidays. So
I was gonna say, this will not be the place where you hear Christmas represented. Unless,
no, I was just thinking,
on,
like Iron GM wise, that would have been like if I'd been dealt a hand that was just garbage, in cards, and was just like I fold. It's like basically.
Actually, I have to say, we don't actually know Ian's religious standing. He may be a what I'm trying to think of a nice way to say Christian, I guess, would be the nicest way.
Christian isn't like a pejorative term, dude. It's a religious leader.
No, it's just going to be very weird. W Chonut, who is in our chat talking at us, was one of the students at the LJL class. Like, and they suggested we should do a fucked up Purim game. And if you're not aware, Purim is drunken Jewish Halloween.
Yeah. What is it? Esther?
Queen Esther.
One
Queen
of my
Esther,
favorite books. Yeah.
Just so good at boning down that she saved the whole peoples. It's a very good story. I read it first in Penthouse, but I hear it's also in the Book of Esther.
It is, yeah.
Anyway,
I can make some pretty decent hamantash.
Oh, nice. No poppy seeds here, though.
Prune.
Desiree is extremely allergic to opiates to the point where if she eats poppy seeds, she'll vomit.
Whoa.
Yeah. On our wedding night, they brought us gold dipped strawberries and like poppy seed bagels. And Desiree's also allergic to gold. So she was wearing her like wedding night. I'm trying to think of the polite word for lingerie, but
that is the polite word.
Negligee. And like
I just call them fucking cloths.
Hand feeding me gold dipped strawberries as I lounged in I felt like Caligula.
I was gonna say, did you have a fucking like diadem on?
I did. It was around my penis.
Of course. Yeah.
So anyway, it was very funny. I say all this to say we're going to do a lot of really dumb, really fun, really crazy stuff. But after we play the games, we'll always kind of talk frankly about how we felt about the games. For instance,
giving aftercare is what was basically what you're saying.
Hideo's World. Really interesting game, really fascinating. But if I wasn't a 90s kid, like an 80s, 90s kid, would I have enjoyed it? I don't know. And do I know anything about Mothership as a system after playing it? No. So it was really cool, but I don't know that I would run it for anyone that wasn't like this group right here.
Oh, absolutely. And that was definitely a gamble. It was something I've wanted to run. And this is one of those things where I'm like, the guy who wrote Mothership made the module. And I'm like, this isn't Mothership, but he wrote it. And it's really neat. And I love the aesthetic. So
it was cool. Like I said, it was really cool, but it was really cool because I know everything. Like I understood all what was happening. It was like, Charles, I would define Hideo's World as if Second Life was made with MS Paint and you were inside of it.
I love it. Like I love that whole aesthetic, that glitchy ass aesthetic.
You would have loved it. That's what I'm saying. And we'll also do some 40K stuff.
We may even we will.
We may even do some 40K stuff using other systems.
Which there was an article that we tweeted out a little while ago about a GM dropping some basically a D&D party into like a 40K setting, and like I thought that was kind of fun.
I would probably use John 3:16. which if you're not familiar, John 3:16 is a really cool sci-fi like game jam that got turned into a book. It's really, really simple, really bare bones, but it's perfect. I hand to God, it is perfect for playing like a Imperial Guard regiment. And very like almost without changing anything.
At some point, I've got a great dark heresy story I'd love to tell, but I know we're probably close on time for me to be rambling about something about that. But
Well, yeah, we are closed on time for the evening. We're going back to audio format, guys. We're not leaving this format. This format is staying, but you can also check us out on wherever you get your podcast, Wandering Monster. You can find us online. Our socials are down there at One Moncast, at MHP_games, and at madnessheart.press. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Twitter at Kaiju Poet. Maybe I'll occasionally stream something here on Twitch, but I doubt it. It's kind of a Wandering Monster thing, mostly. And of course, you can find me and all my books at www.kaijupoet.com. Take it away, Charles.
If you're looking for me on the little old internet, I would recommend that you follow me on Twitter at CRBernard. You can also find kind of the big annotated list of all my writing at tinyurl.com/Charles R. Bernard, all lowercase. And that'll take you to the big list of like anthologies and magazines that I'm in. My debut novel, which is on madnessheart.press and is called A Baptism for the Dead. Forthcoming duology from Raventail Press. I don't have a release date for yet, but that's coming up, and we'll see what else comes along. And like John said, if you're looking for this here humble podcast / stream / whatever the fuck we are, go to at WanMoncast at WANMONCAST. And Ian, if the people of the internet are looking for you, where might they find you?
Probably hiding behind a bush or something.
It's like the resemblance to Lemons is uncanny.
I know, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I've got here down here.
It's down that way. Yep, there you go.
Somewhere. So you'll notice I have like a very bare bones Twitter. I've had a Twitter for forever, but never posted like anything on it until today, where I was like, I have a Twitter, and I've got to start beefing up my portfolio since I have been one of those elder millennials and been living my entire life on the Book of Faces. So I will exist in other places as well.
That used to be me.
So very minimal profile at the moment, but I will build up that portfolio for things. So feel free to pester me on what are those things, and I'll pester you right back.
Okay. Everyone, we'll be back next week. Again, we're going to play a game next week. We're going to be playing a Morkborg.
The Vaults of Unfaith.
Yes, Halls of Unfaith. So I hope you'll join us for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be Charles's first actual game of Morkborg.
It's true.
So it's going to be just crazy. Thank you so much for joining us on this consensual journey we call Wandering Monster. I have been John Baltusberger.
I have been Charles R. Bernard.
I have been Ian, and also, what was that name?
Lemon Squeezy is good.
Lemon Squeezy.
Yeah. I've also been that.
Thank you so much, and we will be back next week. But until then, stay safe, but